this is something that can be kind of go both ways. Using Santa Claus to sell things, and Joe was talking about it. It's in a commercial. Santa Claus is he represents gifts.
He's the representation
Father
of
Christmas.
The holidays at this point.
Yep.
He's the representation of Christmas.
He's the one who selflessly gives to his friends and neighbors and strangers, and companies see that, and they're going to put him in their product, so you're like, oh, well, you know what? This product can be associated with all like the goodness that represents Christmas and that Christmas stands for. And so they use it to sell, and especially with kids, I think it probably works pretty well.
Yeah, it definitely works well.
But I think that I wrote on the sheet cashing in on Christmas because I think that the real ethical question about this is kind of, are you taking advantage of everything that we build this season up to be just to move units, if you know what I mean?
Here's the thing. If I was an advertiser, obviously you would try to do anything that might sell.
Yeah.
You don't care about really many ethical issues, or mainly you're just concerned about cost and effectiveness. If Santa sells products, I'm gonna put Santa on my commercial.
Yeah.
I have no problem with companies using Santa in a commercial way. I have problems with companies using Santa in a commercial way for times before December 1st. Like, I don't want to see a Christmas. Yeah. I don't want to see a Santa commercial in mid-November.
It's true.
But once December rolls around, I'm completely alright.
It's okay. And I'm the same point as Joe. I'm all for the bottom. Like, go ahead and make that money. If you're a company, especially in these times, it's very, very hard. You want to do whatever you can to sell. Santa Claus is going to sell. And I'm fine with it. And I also think that, like, it's not done in, like, a way to try to trick you or pull one over on you. It's not done in a dishonest way. It's done in the same way that anybody sells anything. So you take it with a grain of salt, but you know what? They're making an effort. And for the most part, I would probably trust the companies with or without Santa Claus. But my problem also kind of with this is kind of changing the image of Santa Claus. And I'm going to say that, like, kind of the, like, and this is something that happens, I think, more on the internet. The using sex and Santa Claus to sell stuff is what I kind of have a problem with. Is that, yeah, like there is definitely a distinct movement among certain companies to use the image of Santa Claus, but relate it in such, like, kind of a sexy or inappropriate way.
You mean, like, with jewelry commercials?
Well,
like the one where, like, Santa Claus is like, oh, she'll like this gift. And he's like, oh, it's diamonds. Oh, great. And she's like, oh, I loved it. And he's like, oh, Santa said you would.
Not so much. I'm thinking...
What commercial do you think
there was one commercial where it was, like, basically a woman in a bikini with, like, a Santa Claus hat. And like, yeah. I think that is more shamelessly kind of, like... I'm trying to think of even how... I think it just goes against kind of my own personal feelings on what should be... Like, something should, I think, be sacred, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of is one of those things. Like, Santa Claus, it's really about the kids.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that to a certain extent, it needs to be for the kids.
That's
so I'm going to pass this, but just with that little caveat.
I'm going to pass it, too. I think this might be the first time in a while, not only do we have 4 passes, but we haven't disagreed on anything.
No, that's true.
This is why you can't make the shows.
Well, so how about this?
You're not provocative enough.
What would your ideal Christmas be? So I got a pretty good idea for mine.
Why don't you go first? I got to think about this. All right.
My ideal Christmas. It's not going to snow. No white Christmas for me. Snow is a pain in the ass. You got to clean it off your car. You got to shovel the driveway. Not anymore because I moved. Last year, did you remember that blizzard last year?
Yep.
It was a blizzard. There was snow up to my chest. And we had to shovel the garage. We had to shovel our way, like, on the driveway on Christmas. Worst day ever. No snow. And I'm going to say that, like, I don't want all the things that you kind of want. I mean, I'm not really making a list anymore. It's not like when I was a kid and, like, I used to make a list of all these toys. Last year, I really wanted an iPad. I got an iPad. I was pretty happy. There were some things that I wanted a new Xbox. Didn't get that. But, I mean, like... It's time to grow up. You know, Xbox is kind of like a younger person thing. I still have one that works. I can't really complain. I'm fine. I got something that I really wanted. And I mean, I think that if you can look at your Christmas and be like, yeah, I did get that gift, that's cool. But it's also not really about the gift. I think that my ideal Christmas, after you do that whole stuff with the presents, and everybody's got to do the calls to grandma and grandpa and the aunts and uncles, and you got to say thank you and all that. That's a given. You're going to play a board game with the family. I think that is my ideal Christmas.
What board game?
It doesn't really matter. in recent years, well, I mean, because last year was, I think, the only time I really can remember playing a board game with my family. And I think it might have been because it snowed. And, like, we played this game with like, it was kind of like the game Gridlock. I don't know if you guys ever played that, but...
Never heard of it.
It's basically kind of like a puzzle game. And, like, you have this one day out of the year where it's basically guaranteed that everybody's going to be in a good mood. Everybody's going to be in the same place for at least that whole day. And now that, like, everybody's kind of moving away, my brother's been out of the house for a while. It's good to have him back. Like, do something with your family. Play a board game. Watch a movie. That to me is the ideal Christmas. In, like, a corny kind of... I think that Christmas should be more about taking advantage of being together than it really should be about anything else.
Yep. I mean, I'll agree.
That's my Christmas.
I'm going to say Christmas is about family. My ideal Christmas morning... Let me sleep in a little bit. We'll go downstairs.
Yeah.
We'll open all the presents. You know, I have younger siblings, so I mean, it's not like Santa still exists or anything, but you know, they're still somewhat in Christmas spirits.
What did you just say?
I don't have younger siblings. I mean, like Santa. Oh, that one.
I'm not kidding though.
Well, I mean.
Yep.
Santa exists in our minds and hearts.
In my heart, he does.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to be him for Halloween.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Or maybe I'm just Scott for 364 days out of the year, but I actually am Santa Claus.
Well, I was gonna say that Christmas Eve, the family has a tradition of dressing up as Santa and sexy elves.
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. Let me tell you. We're gonna take a pause from the ideal Christmas.
Scott just had that face where I know this is gonna be really dumb.
I've got my little cousins from Tennessee coming in.
Tennessee.
I have some cousins in Tennessee. It's a long story.
Are they gonna bring Kendall?
I'm not a fan of Tennessee. Tennessee's basically. It's.
Is Kendall coming?
Maybe. Best Christmas.
What was his
Christmas
name?
ever.
Lovin? Is that his name? Lovin?
I don't know.
I think his name was Lovin.
It's been a while since I've done some creeping, but
yeah,
so my little cousins are coming from Tennessee. And by little, I mean like 10 and 6 or something, 8 and 6. I actually want so bad because they're gonna stay at my grandparents' house. My grandparents have this electric fireplace. I want so bad to dress up as Santa Claus and emerge from that electric fireplace and give them the best Christmas of their lives because these kids are from a very religious upbringing, and it would be so funny.
You realize you can't emerge from an electric fireplace.
I would like come out from behind it, like, oh, here we go, here's Santa Claus. You'd have to see the layout of the house, but it could happen. If they were looking the other way, I could just quick come around. Oh, I came out from under the invisible chimney. I am Santa Claus for those kids.
Scott,
it is gonna be great. They're gonna sit on my lap and tell me what they want for Christmas, and I'm gonna have it.
What? You have a baby face. You can never pull off an old man. 2, you'd have to buy a fake beard because there's no way you're even getting a little stubble to look like Santa Claus. 3, you're going to have to gain about 200 pounds.
I'm working on that, believe me.
You're going to have to get a fat suit.
Yeah, the fat suit's
going to be really hot.
The fat suit's basically...
Especially by that electric fireplace.
I want to do it. But, yeah, how cool would that be? How funny would that be? Just like,
I mean,
just if you were there
before they realize, wait a minute, where's Scott?
Yeah.
And then they pull off your beard and you're like that stupid face. You're like, oh no, and then you're like, oh, I just ruined Christmas for these kids.
I didn't ruin it.
Well, you did.
I augmented it.
Well, you ruined it.
I don't think so. I think that'd be funny. Anyway, so your ideal Christmas? Dress up with the sexy elves. Spend time with family.
Yeah, spend time with family. That's about it. You know.
Tell us about yours if you're out there listening. I want to hear it. I want to hear about the ideal Christmas. Maybe your ideal Christmas is get some strippers and balloons, get an elephant, and then parade down the street and make your neighbors all like feel like crap because they can't afford to rent an elephant for a day. It's pretty good.
It's amazing how you come up with these things.
I guess. So we're going to be taking some calls for Mad Libs. It's about 4:45. We still got another hour and 15 to go. A great hour and 15. That was only our first segment, you know.
You know what?
That's our.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It sure is. Just like if we saw Frank tonight.
Yeah, probably.
So, we're going to take some calls for Frank's blog, Mad Libs. If you're listening, our number is 845-575-3691.
I'm going to say it slower.
Yeah,
because I really want people to call.
Yeah.
We got a great Mad Libs.
Let's do it.
845-575-3691.
Yep.
So, as soon as I stop talking, which will be shortly.
Oh, and you know what? You guys can call while the commercials are going on.
Yes.
There was some confusion about that.
Yes, we want you to call during the commercial break for Mad Libs. We'll start Mad Libs after the commercials. I can't wait.
Can't wait.
845-575-3691. We'll be right back.
Let's have us a great...
Chet, we ready?
Let's have a great Christmas.
Am I ready to send this commercial?
Yeah, we're good.
Good job, Chet.
All right.